There we go. Sorry about that. We've been having technical difficulties all night tonight. But yeah, guys, I'm going to start off with my friends over at Company Cam. They have been a great company. Guys, we're all out there. You all have your phones full of a bunch of pictures of HVAC systems. And it's like, did this job get done? Is it still there? Do I still need these pictures? It's filling up your iCloud or whatever it is for Android. And it's always a pain in the butt. Well, this is a solution that offers so many things that is great for us in the HVAC industry. So the only app every HVAC company needs is Company Cam. It makes it dead simple to communicate, document, and problem solve with your technician, no matter where they are. Company Cam brings documentation, communication, and liability protection together in one simple, easy-to-use app for you and your entire team. Take unlimited photos and videos, share custom reports, create flawless before and afters, and even communicate and share progress with property owners and customers with galleries and project timelines, all from your smartphone. Company Cam is the only app that every HVAC company needs. Guys, check out companycam.com/HVAC Uncensored. Go get a free 14-day trial. And just for being part of HVAC Uncensored Nation, if you decide that you're going to do it after the 14 days, you get 50% off of your first 2 months. So go check out my friends at Company Cam. Last but not least is my rock that I've had since day one. I love this company, is Yellow Jacket. As most of you know, I'm a second generation HVAC tech, 20 years plus in the trade, but I always think back to those days working with my dad that I cherish so much. My dad always said, your tools are an extension of yourself. If you buy quality tools and take care of them, they'll take care of you. Most of the time, you only have to buy them once. Well, that brand, when I think back, is Yellow Jacket. They've been making quality products for 70 years and counting, and they make them right here in the USA. If you're looking for quality tools you can depend on, look no further than our friends over at Yellow Jacket. My family's been trusting them for generations now, and we don't plan on stopping. So if you guys are looking for any new tools, give them a look, Yellow Jacket, and remember, 70 years of expertise built into every tool. All right, enough playing the bills. Let's get this pledge and let you introduce you guys to some amazing ladies that we have on the podcast tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Five, four, three, two, one. Go!
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue-collar people talking about blue-collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
All righty, let's get this show started. Guys, I have a great show tonight. I had the honor of meeting some of these women in Vegas. I have always been aware of what they were doing. To finally have the opportunity to be able to talk to some of them, which I'm going to introduce here in a second, is awesome to finally be able to do this. What they are doing in the industry for the industry is absolutely amazing. I'm a part of their Facebook group, and the positivity and the building up in that group is bar none. I haven't seen that in any other Facebook group. So guys, without further ado, let me introduce the women of HVACR, Miss Colin Keyworth and Miss, Jesus, why can't I? There you guys, you're unmuted. I'm sorry. This thing is a pain in the butt. Are you, man, guys, we've had nothing but trouble tonight. I am so sorry. Miss Marcia Christensen, I'm so sorry, ma'am. Yeah, guys. Well, thank you, ladies, for coming on. I'm sorry about all the technical difficulties tonight, but I'm so happy to have you guys on.
Well, we're happy to be here. It's been one heck of a night, that's for sure.
Yes, it has. People haven't been able to get into links. There's been some audio things that are going on. I think I can hear something. I don't know if audio is in the background of somebody, but I can hear it. Well, why don't we start by doing this? I'll start with you, Miss Colleen. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and let the listeners know who you are, what your background is, and then we'll move on to Miss Marcia.
All right. Sounds good. My name's Colin Keyworth. I work for a company called Online Access. That's where I actually get my paycheck from. I actually do internet marketing for contractors all over the US and Canada. And it's a family business. And we also have our contracting business as well, which is a 60-year-old contracting company in Port Huron, Michigan. My husband's a tech, and my father and uncle split both businesses down the middle. So it's kind of like a for contractors by contractors type of thing. And that's kind of what I grew up doing. It was about 8 years ago now that I joined the Women HVACR organization and have been on their board of the directors for about 8 years. And now this year I'm serving as their 2022 president. And it has been one heck of a roller coaster. We started off 8 years ago with roughly about 100 members, and now we're pushing 700 members. And we have like such a huge group now. We have our standalone conference. We used to hook up with Comfort Tech back in the day and a couple other things that were in the industry. And now we have we partner with just about everybody. We have a very, very successful partnership with AHR, which is, of course, where we met Gil. And we have one with Hardy and Service World and ACA, and there's tons of different things all over the industry that we kind of take part in. And our growth has been explosive, especially the last 4 years. And because of that, we have been blessed with so much outpouring. Our Facebook group is huge. It's been kind of one of those like volunteer jobs that kind of take over your life. So anyway, I love it. It's been a passion of mine, and it's actually a great honor just to be able to serve as president this year. It's been a lot of fun so far.
That is awesome. I guess, Ms. Marcia, go ahead and let people know your background. I know that you have a pretty important position at the company you work for.
My name's, of course, Marcia Christensen. I am the vice president of Women in HVACR, and I also have a day job where I worked in the industry for 30 years, building controls for the commercial side of the market. But I've been super blessed to be a part of Women in HVACR. It's an incredible network, incredible opportunity for people to meet people all the way across the industry. And I would highly encourage anyone who wants to join us.
That's awesome. So, well, let me ask you this, and this might sound like a dumb question, and I don't want it to be like a sexist thing. The Women in HVACR, when it was created, what is the goal? Was it just to get women in the industry, to give them an avenue? Was it to, what was the main goal behind, in creating it? What is, like, when women say, hey, I want to join it, is it just like a community, or is it like to bring more of them in the field and all that kind of stuff? Because I think some of the listeners don't know.
Yeah. So I'd like to just start off by saying I was just going to say that when I started in this industry, there were almost no women in it at all. And you'd go to conferences and there was no one to really talk to. And the other thing is that you don't even see women, because you don't see women in this industry. It's not something that you grow up thinking, oh, that's a career for me. And so in the beginning, it was just to collect the few women that were together into a group. But now it's turned into an opportunity to really go out into the schools and out into the marketplace and show women in particular that this is a great career opportunity for them. And I'll turn the stage to Colleen.
It really was kind of built up based on the fact that, like, way before even I jumped into the industry, Marcia and women like Ruth King, Gwen Hostek, they kind of got together. They were at an AHR actually in Chicago, and they were like, we don't see any women. There's no women in this industry, and yet we have one of the best industries out there. It's lucrative, it's giving, it's, accessible to just about everybody. And yet why are we having such a problem identifying with it or making sure that people know that there's opportunities here, whether that be the technician level, business, marketing, CEOs, whatever. There's a lot to be said for the opportunities HVAC offers. So in 2002, Ruth King and Gwen started the Women HVACR organization, and it was just contractors at the time, actually. So it started out with the intent of just contractors. So of course, they had meetings, they connected to Comfort Tech, they did quite a bit with different organizations they had access to, but it really wasn't until a couple years later that they actually added manufacturers and wholesalers and vendors. And that actually made the group kind of explode a bit more because, of course, with those additions, you get funds that you need to actually do. It's not just out of pocket. Now you're getting sponsorship. And so with that type of participation, the organization started to grow a bit. And then they had the board of directors. It's not just coming out of their pocket anymore. Now they have funds to put on events and attract more women. It has been growing so much, but the goals have remained consistent. We want to attract women into this industry, and we want to retain women in this industry, and we want to educate them and provide networking opportunities. Networking is one of the biggest things that you can do for anybody's job, whether it's you're a technician, whether you're in sales, whatever it is that you're doing, because now you'll have a crew, you have a sounding board, you have other people who have been through it, you have mentorship. And so that was one of the number one reasons, is to just provide those professional avenues in order to do that and make sure people didn't feel alone.
Yeah. And I think it's awesome. And I'll be honest, I would hire women in a heartbeat. And most of the women that I know personally in the industry are absolutely awesome. They're killers. Like, they're doing amazing. They prove all the guys wrong. Like, I love it. And just to see like some of the women that hold these powerful spots are sometimes behind some of these companies. Maybe they're not the face, but they don't realize that there's a woman behind that, and I really think that it's also, or she's the one pulling the strings and calling the shots. Like at my company, I'm lucky, or the company that I work for, we have, two amazing, we have several, but, some amazing women that work for us, and they're a huge part of what we do, so I think this is awesome what you do. And then especially in the, in the group, I love seeing like just the positivity with, hey, I went on a job interview and, I crushed it. I got my job today. And like seeing that, I think it is so awesome, to be able to do that. Cause like you said, you have ladies from being a technician to like having like high positions. I know the one lady I met, isn't she? She's like really big at one of like the I met so many I forget, but I know one of them was really high. I think was it Service Titan or something like that? One of them was up there really high.
Yeah, we have a couple. So if you met Angie works at Service Titan, and she was over customer training, and I think now she's over. She just got a new position. It's over there. They're building so fast. It's like everybody changes positions every 6 months, but we have a mix. It's kind of nice because you get to meet people from all over. For instance, Marcia is actually, on the equipment side of stuff, or in the manufacturing side, where that kind of changed up the dynamics of the group so much, but it provided avenues to connect with people you normally don't see at a contractor show. As a contractor or technician, now you get to meet the people that make the tools, that make the equipment, that are the engineers. And it's kind of a unique value proposition because you don't get that at every show.
No, and I think that's also how you get to grow in the industry. When you get to have that communication, when manufacturers get to, whether social media or they get to hear from the people using the tool, like, hey, this is awesome, but we really like this, and they can tweak it and change it. And no matter whatever that process is, like that really, really is amazing. Well, I know, Miss Marcia, that you have a really cool job as far as what you do. If you want to share with the audience what the position you do, it's Pico, isn't that what I don't want to say it wrong.
Pico Control Systems, and I'm the business unit manager, so I manage all of the manufacturing, opportunities through our, we actually have operations people, other people that actually do the work, but I'm responsible for what we're selling and what we're building, and the reps we have out in the field, which we have some great reps. And so it's quite a big job to take care of that. I'm grateful, really grateful to have some wonderful people that work for me. So
that's awesome. Sometimes you're only as good as the people that work for you and with you.
Oh, absolutely. I make a real point to communicate that appreciation to my direct report and all the indirect reports that I have. So.
Yeah. Just so some of the listeners out there know, Miss Marcia works for a company that is very, like security wise and what they do. And she's at work. So that's why some people are saying like the crackling and it was breaking up. That's why. So we had trouble getting in because she works in a very secure building. So if you hear a little bit of crackling and stuff like that, that's why. So just wanted to let you know. And that's why you hear it. She's got an important, she's not like us where, we can just watch dirty videos at work and stuff like that. She has an important one where they monitor that kind of stuff and you can't do it. So I just wanted to answer that to everybody because I saw a few things in the chat. So
yeah, the sound you're hearing, Marcia, they're coming to get you.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So if you see me muting you on and off, that's why, just to try to cut some of it out. But so let me ask you guys this: as far as how much it's grown, and I'll start with you first this time, Ms. Marcia. So as much as women in HVACR has grown, where do you guys want it to be in, say, 5 years? Like, what is the end game? Just more women in the trade to branch out? Like, where do you guys want to take it from here?
What I'd really like to see is us to really grow our ambassador program, where we have people that are able to do outreach, a lot more people able to do outreach into the high schools and maybe down into the middle schools, and help women that are entering into this industry, both in the trades, but also in office jobs, to understand that they're to see themselves in those leadership roles and to be able to move out, out and up, and that there's this whole team of women that are here to help them, because that's really what I've gotten out of being in this organization, is being part of a huge network. So there's stuff that on all levels that you don't know, even at the tech level, you go into that particular area being a woman, and there's things that women have to deal with that men don't. Women get pregnant and they have different needs when they're out in a service truck. And so it's just some sounding board sometimes. Or also there's an opportunity to really help. And so that's really where I see us building this community out and having it reach a lot more people.
That's awesome. I guess I'll go with you, Ms. Colleen. How do you feel about that?
I have to agree with Marcia. Our ambassador program is probably the legs of the organization. When we started doing this, even this shortly as 8 years ago, the big thing is that everybody wants us to come and talk and be and present. And we are only 12 volunteer board members. And we have 2 part-time paid staffers, but that's a brand new thing for us to even have that. So being able to get out there and do and actually be in the grassroots of it is a big deal. And if I had to say our 5-year goal is to really get, moving on our ambassador program and have the traction that we need to get, that program kind of self-sustainable. As she was kind of explaining, we have our scholarships and our mentorship program, but our ambassador program is really going to turn the tide of, especially when it comes to retention in this industry and recognition that this is an option, whether it be for women or for men. But ambassador program allows us to empower people everywhere. Whether you're a contractor or a CSR, or maybe you're a distributor, maybe you're a wholesaler, you're a TM, whatever it is that you're doing, manufacturer, whatever, if you have the ability to locally go into schools, go into junior highs, go into church groups, Girl Scout groups, the Rotary clubs, the 4-H fairs, wherever it is that you see a job fair opportunity to share the opportunities that this industry offers, that's going to make the biggest impact, because what we have is a disconnect that this country is built on this prejudice of the trades. And it doesn't matter, like, if you're man or a woman. I mean, obviously women in general don't consider it even an option. But like, even now we have like the biggest deficit of workers. And if we don't have people to install the equipment, it doesn't matter who makes it. So it's kind of one of those things where getting down into the grassroots of stuff really makes a huge difference. And the more people that we're able to give slideshows to, PowerPoints, talking points, getting into like handouts, whatever they need to be that expert, we'll provide that information so that you'll be able to go out there and speak and do that, because we're only so many people. But the message needs to start way sooner than when they're getting into trade school or high school. It needs to start in junior high, and you need to start changing the imagery. Because a lot of the imagery that we use is stock photos, and everything we use for text even, it doesn't include women. That's 51% of the population that you're knocking out right there that could fill those positions.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true. And hello, everybody in the chat. I see you. Just so you know, I agree. And that's why I try to be an advocate for the trades in general, because I think that so many kids are being brainwashed that college is the only answer. And we all know, not saying college is bad, but it's not for everyone. And you can make a lucrative career in the trades. And I want young people, men, women, whoever it is, to know that the trades are a viable option, that you can go to trade school. You don't have a whole bunch of debt, and you can get out, and it is a good field. You can make a good living. There's a lot of people. I mean, I got guys that work for me that are, work for our company that are, 25 years old that, make $150,000 or $150,000 a year. Like, they do very well for themselves. And I want women to see too. And I'm glad you said that about the stock photos, because when you look at the image of the industry, or even like a blue collar symbol, it's like a guy with his shirt done and like a hard hat or something, where really that could just as easily be, a man and a woman next to it. Because to be honest, I want to hire a woman technician so bad. And it's sad that I don't see them enough. In 20 years and being in management and running HVAC companies for the last 12, 10, I've never even had the opportunity to interview a woman, which I want the opportunity, So I wanted to ask this, because I meant to cover this in the beginning and I didn't. What exactly does, I'll let you answer this, Ms. Marsh, or whoever, it doesn't matter. So what does it actually like offer? So when the women join it, besides what are all the different programs, like the ambassador program and stuff like that? Like, what benefits do the women have once they join?
Great. Yeah. So first off, we have a weekly meeting that's on Zoom on Fridays. And so they have an opportunity to join into that and be educated in it's all the way from business to soft skills, personal development, professional development to technical. And so some of them are super useful for some people and some of them are super useful for other people. But in general, we have those meetings every week. That's a huge first thing that people normally go to. Also, we also have, they can join into a mentorship program so that they can write down what they really want, their interests are and what they're trying to develop into. And then they're matched up with somebody who has a similar skill set. And that's a huge value to somebody. It's something you probably have to pay a lot more for if you went out and just tried to hire somebody to do that for you. So those two things alone are really make the price of our membership hands down a good value, but also the networking that you get to meet people all over the industry and all the different facets. And sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. So I would highly recommend joining our organization.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome because like you said, it's already hard for women to make the transition to think that it's okay to work in this kind of field. So having that community behind you to be like, yes, it's okay. You can do it. This is some help on how you can do it is a very, valuable thing to have. One of my friends, Zeke, who has a company in Maryland, he says, I have a female tech and I wish I had 10 of her. She's badass. So that's why I say most of the women I know in the field are amazing. So, if somebody came to my house to sell me something, I'd rather buy from a woman than a man, just being honest. But so that's awesome. Is there anything else, to add as far as what you guys offer, Miss Colleen?
I would say there's tons of the actual membership benefits and then benefits of just being associated with the organization. As you mentioned earlier, we have one of the most active, if not the largest, Facebook group for female techs. I would dare say it's running on 4,000 pretty quickly, but it's the female techs and they're constantly sharing in there. And it is such a warm group of support. It is not a constant, as you said earlier, without measure type of a thing. It's very much like, hey, just had my interview. Hey, what are some things I need to do? Where do you guys get the right boots that you need? Where you get the pants? If you're pregnant, what is something you had to tell your boss? How do you do something if they're having issues or technical issues? But then not just that, you have the business professional level too, where they're having the same type of sound off, where they're able to find people or they're asking questions or they're learning from each other. And it provides that kind of safe space. Now, our organization is for men and women with the explicit purpose of supporting women into the industry. So we have a lot of male supporters, employers, mentors that are in our group, that are involved in our organization, that sponsor us. And it provides such a great environment to kind of build people up to be able to succeed. That's honestly the bottom line. Our paid membership is $149 a year, and that's a year. And that allows us to do some of our programs and stuff and have people have skin in the game. But that gets into, like Marcia said, our Friday Zoom calls, our mentorship opportunity, which is a unique proposition where we actually match you intentionally with other people who have been there that have the necessary, experience to be able to say, this is what you should do. This is who you should know. And this is what you need to be looking forward to. It gives you kind of that roadmap. Our ambassador program is also a paid for membership benefit and discounts at all of our conference events. So like our conference at the end of the year is this November 2nd through the 4th and is in Phoenix, Arizona. We had our last one in St. Pete's. The one before that was virtual, like the rest of the world. And then the one before that was in Boston. And we've done, I think, 6 live events so far going on our 6th. But we have done several conferences. But as far as standalone, that's when things kind of started to get really big and really real for us. And we like to make sure that that's one of our biggest membership benefits is access to that. A discounted registration, special access to just the resources and the calls every Friday. It's kind of one of those things that we're building value as we go constantly. Our scholarships are also one of our value propositions, but that's open to anybody getting into the trades, whether it be for a BA or whether it be for technical school. We're offering 6 $5,000 scholarships this year, and we're going to be giving them away on stage at conference. And so that's always been a highlight. That's one of the things that, like, when the rubber hits the road for me, I kind of get emotional about, because that's when it's like, okay, that's why we do what we do. I also say whenever I talk about this, it absolutely is. I actually learn more about what it's like, even in the field and stuff, from these girls than anything else. I'll constantly call my husband and be like, all right, so they gave us, like, Yellow Jacket gave us tools and Field Piece gave us tools and whatever. And I was like, what do these actually do? So we get pretty blessed, and it's really nice to see these girls light up like it's Christmas time when we get these packs from our sponsors. But that's kind of one of the biggest benefits is probably the scholarship program, which we have a lot of partnership in, which is nice. And then getting to match people up in the industry and our mentorship, because you know what, you never have to walk into a room alone or go to an event alone when you're a part of this. And I think that's the best thing. You're always going to know somebody.
That is awesome. If I could ever help in any way, like the mentorship or anything like that, do anything, please let me know. I would love help or be a part of that. And I do want to say this to all the men listening to this. Their Facebook group really is like seeing how the women, like most people are like, oh, guys are chill and women bicker and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's the opposite, because all of the mostly men Facebook groups are bickering and tearing each other down. And when you look in these groups with these women, you never, ever see that. They are always positive. Like if somebody says something like, oh, I went to an interview, I didn't get the job, I don't know what I did wrong. Every single person, and I'm in the group, even the men, everybody is, hey, don't worry about it, you'll get it next time. They're building that person up. And I love that, because that is what we need to do. We need to build each other up. It is so much more meaningful to build somebody up than it is to tear them down. I know I say it all the time. I sound like a broken record, but it's true. And we do it too much where we tear each other down. And I think your group, if any of these men decide to join it, is a prime example of what these communities and Facebook groups should be to a T. So
we have a Facebook and a LinkedIn group that everybody can check out.
Nice. And I'll make sure I get all that stuff from you, and we will I'll try to get all that shared. If any of the women that listen to this, we have Miss Jessica Egan in the chat. She's a women technician in the trade. Get that information for you. If any of you out there want to be able to join and get linked up with them, which I highly suggest you do. I think that's awesome, just to have that community, and to be newer and be so strong is really, really awesome. I mean, I take my hat off to you guys for what you're doing.
It's been one of the most rewarding things that I've done in my career, and probably the most passionate I've been about it. You meet the most amazing people, and it just opens doors. I'll say in general that this entire organization opens doors places, and everybody's on board. March gets really busy for us because, of course, March is Women's Month. So we have tons of different opportunities to go speak somewhere, get involved somewhere, which has been really fun. But it's meeting the members, it's seeing it grow, and seeing other members create their own little groups out of it. And they come to conference every year, or they meet up at AHR. Gail, I think you got to experience Women HVACR, AHR. We were on fire this year. I feel like we were everywhere.
Yes, you definitely were. Your guys' event at AHR was awesome. Those little meatball things, I think I ate like 48 of them because I kept going back over, and the guy was refilling it, and he was looking at me funny. And I'm like, hey, don't judge me. All right. Just refill the meatballs and keep going, my man. But that definitely was an awesome event. And it was funny because I have a big mouth. I'm really not nervous to talk to anybody. But I was sitting there with our mutual friends, the HVAC jerks. And I was like, hey, will you introduce me to Colleen? I was like, I didn't want to, because it was your guys' event and you were talking to people, and I just didn't want to walk up and be like, hey, I'm Gil from Uncensored. How are you? So that's why I had him come over, and I'm glad that he got to do it, because I had heard about what you guys were doing and was very fond and followed it from afar. But it was awesome to be able to finally, meet you guys and see what you're doing, because it is really, really, really cool. And the other thing I like that I think that is like, and something that I thought about, women in the trade. And also I thought about creating a group a while ago for women, like just the wives of technicians, people that aren't even in the field, just to understand what it's like to be a technician and what they go through. Because I always talk about it all the time, addiction in the trades, mental health is it's a big thing, and the divorce rate, so I have married the same woman twice, but that's been a long time. But, I dealt with addiction, years ago, and I still deal with mental health. So that's why I like to really do that, and help people, let people know that they're not alone. Because in this kind of job, when you're by yourself riding a van all day, it may feel that way, but it's not, you're not alone. So at your event, so the plan for the November event, like what all happens there? Anybody can answer it. I mean,
well, I will just start out. It's usually a ton of fun, but also a lot of growth and personal development. You'll come and you'll end up, we have an opening reception in the evening. That's so everyone has an opportunity to network and maybe get to know people that they don't know. And then we usually have 3 to 4 tracks that you could follow through. So we have a variety of different speakers, and the speakers will develop subjects on personal development, professional development, business. Ruth King usually gives a speech there on business. We also have we're going to have HVACR industry stuff, and then also some technical training from people in the industry. I don't know at this point, we haven't really set anybody up, but it should be really a great, awesome event. We also have the opportunity to really get to know a lot of people that you didn't know before. So, yeah. And Colleen, you can fill in the rest.
Well, in general, so we don't have, like what Marsha was saying, we're still in the planning stages. So we have our destination, which is going to be the Arizona Grand. It is November 2nd through the 4th in Phoenix. It is a beautiful resort, and it has a lazy river and a water slide. So shout out for that. But we have our content that we're building right now. So right now, we just got done as a board at our planning retreat where we got together. We locked all 12 of us in a cabin up in Utah. We literally just got back on Monday, and we worked out all of our what are we doing? What's our goal? Learning about each other, because we're a new board, of course, learning what we need to do, and then getting into what we're going to do for conference. So we shared some ideas, talked about some agenda items. So we're in the planning stages. We usually launch our registration for conference, usually around the end of May. So you're going to stay tuned for that. But so far, historically for our events, if you go to our website, you can actually see what we've done last year, which was our St. Pete's event. We were actually under a tent on the beach, toes in the sand, and we had tons of different speakers out there. It was absolutely gorgeous event. You can't find prettier beach than St. Pete's. It was incredible. Probably a distraction, we did learn in the long run, because of course the drinks in the bar and all the margaritas were behind us. So, but in general, it was a really fun event. We always have something different. It's one of those things that's unique about having a women's event is you can get away with quite a bit that you can't get away with at a lot of conferences. So we have about 40 guys that show up. Like, we have a lot of podcast supporters. We have a sponsored supporters that show up. Heck, we had 2 or 3 guys come to support their female team members. They were the boss or something in certain situations, or they were like a coworker, and they're like, I'm just going to come to support my team. And it was really nice to see that, because we are in a predominantly male industry, and without the support of men in this industry, it doesn't matter. So if everybody's on board, we're going to fill some of those gaps in what we're facing for hiring. And we're going to make sure that we're bringing not just like people into the industry, but the right people into the industry. We're giving them every opportunity to succeed and grow. And having events where women from all over can get together and network and create those relationships. First off, you're always going to have a job. 100%. Most anything in this industry is all who you know. Never burn a bridge, because you're going to see that person again in another job. Nobody ever leaves this industry. It just doesn't happen. And so because of that's one of the things I love about it. Because of that, it's so important to your personal development to know people. And the personal development is going to be one of our pillars. It's the business development, and professional development is kind of the other. And we do have technical courses as well. So there really is something for everybody. It's kind of a challenge because, of course, like I said earlier, we have everybody from the techs to like the manufacturing CEO. So you're like, how do you make sure you have sales, marketing, personal development? So we try to make sure we touch on just about everything to give people variety. And our main stage is reserved for some really great inspirational speakers and stories. And we also have our partners come out and speak. We've had Hardy up there giving a state of the industry. And that's always a really great session. We have member spotlights giving like stories from in the trenches, which is always inspiring. It's always great to get together and be able to just glean knowledge from just about everybody else, because you always find out that you're not alone. And I just say, I recommend anybody, if you get a chance, November 2nd through the 4th, come out. We're going to probably do some Jeep riding. We're probably going to have some golf outing stuff too. It's Arizona. It's absolutely epically gorgeous. And our resort is an all suite hotel. So everybody gets a suite, and it has a water slide. So there's that, value proposition for the impractical would be those 3 things.
Sounds good. I'm in. Minus the whole podcasting stuff and all that. I'm in, because it's Arizona. And no, that's it really. And like I said, it's awesome, and it's so empowering. And I think that people can look at that. And I highly suggest all the men in this industry to, check out what they're doing and really really support it, because this is going to grow. It's a wave of the future. Just like we have podcasts and we talk about, equipment changing and efficiency and refrigerant and stuff like that. 10 years from now, I'm telling you, every one of you is going to go to your company and you're going to have a woman working there as a technician. She may be your general manager. She may be your service manager, but this is going to start to happen. And to be honest, I welcome it with open arms. I can't wait to see it. I have always been the kind of person, if a person can do the job, then so be it. I don't care if they're black, white, green, purple, man, woman. It really doesn't matter. But like I said, all of the women that I've been able to meet, and I keep referring to as techs, but I know they're in other positions as well. But all of the women technicians that I have ever met are awesome. Like they literally the guys are like trying to be all nice and sweet. And she's like, oh, well, if you won't do the job, I'll do it. Like if you want to act like, and some of them, and they're beautiful girls. Like I had a guy make a comment one time and he's like, oh, well, what is it all like, not good looking women. And I'm like, dude, first of all, shut up. That's kind of ignorant to say. I was like, no, some of these women, they're beautiful women. And if you saw them out in like street clothes and they told you they did HVAC, you probably wouldn't believe it. But it doesn't matter. All of them are welcome. And I think sometimes they're the best, at communication. That's why I think some of them do so good in sales. I don't know if you guys know Miss Coral Whale.
I was going to mention, I noticed that you had her on before, but yeah, Coral's part of the group.
Yeah, Coral
it's an optics thing.
Yeah, she's a beast. She is a woman. I say girl like we're like 5. She is a woman who got taught a process as a maintenance technician. She did exactly what she was taught and sells, $5 million a year or whatever it is, doing exactly what she was taught. Now she works for Lead Ninja as well, helping other people. So it just shows you what's going to happen when you do what you're told, man, woman, whatever. It's really, really amazing. So I guess I don't want to beat a dead horse. As far as you guys, I'll start with you, Miss Marsha. So what made you get into women in HVACR? Like what pulled you into it?
What pulled me in originally was just the outward opportunity to network with people, with women, because there were really no men that I knew that were in the industry. And then what's really held me in is just all the friendships I've made. I have tons of friends all over the United States, including Michigan, which is where Colin lives.
Yeah. It is awesome. Like even when I tell people, like me and Turch always talk, and I love going to these different events, and it's awesome to be able to podcast and do all that stuff. Like it's fun. I'm not going to say it's not, but the networking, that is why I go. That's why I love it. Whether it is with future sponsors or people that want to work with the show, like getting to meet you guys. If I wouldn't have went, I would have never been able to do that. Meeting the different people all across the country, like it is so awesome. I highly suggest to anybody, if you can't afford to travel, do local events, like the GM at my company and the office manager, they just went to Philly for a Lennox Live, and they were like, oh my God, this was so fun. We got to meet, these women. It's called, you might have heard of them. I think it's called Pearl or something. It's a women-owned company. I think they're part of your certification. Yeah. And she was like, oh my God, they're so of ours. Yep. Yeah. She was like, they're so awesome. It's a women-owned company, and they had a blast. And I highly should suggest anybody go do one of those events. If you can only go for a day, whatever it is, to be able to do that, to be able to meet and network with other people, because it really is, it really is amazing. How many women do you guys like? How many total is in women in HVACR now?
It fluctuates a little bit because, of course, memberships are calendar year, but consistently on and off, we were usually average about 700 members a year. It seems to be that kind of magic number. We're at 6 or we're at 7. And we have a distribution list, though, about 5,000 plus, where that's just our collection of people that we have in our contact list, as far as our mailing list that get our announcements and such. Our conference grows every year, usually by like 30 to 50 people. It's insane. So we are expecting somewhere a little over 300 this year for conference. And it kind of is a neat thing to see the people that have been going from the beginning and see them watch it grow. It's like I said, like you can kind of mention before, it's like a family reunion, but there is a level of that. And like you have relationships that, I mean, me and my husband flew out to Oregon, where Marsha's from, to spend time with them over the summer. And I was able to get him time off during the summer, which is a magic trick in itself. But it's kind of one of those things that you have lifelong relationships from. And I know we talk about the fluff and the networking, but it's just one of the biggest benefits of any group you belong in. It's probably when I actually joined for the shiny lanyards. We had sparkly diamond lanyards. It was at a Comfort Tech in Nashville. Was 2015. And I had just kind of gotten back into working for the family business on the other side after leaving the contracting side. And it just kind of changed my life. I mean, it was that crash course into this industry that I needed in order to just become passionate and grow my own career, honestly.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I love that the dynamic is changing, because when I first got in this trade 20 years ago with my dad and stuff, it was always women were in the office. That's what they did. They were the CSRs. They answered the phones. If the men are talking technical or whatever, like that's pretty much what it got to. And then when I started rising, I started seeing, women technicians, when I saw women managers and seeing them working for different manufacturers and different companies, it really, really opened my eyes to, especially, in 20 years, we all know that the culture, society has changed. Things have changed as far as, women's rights of a lot of, women's rights, whether it's racial things, whatever it is, things have changed in 20 years. We're still not where we need to be, but I think we're at least moving in the right direction. But I do think it's awesome. And I do think, like, in the next 10 to 15 years, our trade is going to be flipped on its head as far as the people who work in the trade. Because I think there's going to get to a point as more men, start to retire, those older guys like they are now, and we're having trouble filling them. I think that it's going to be more and more women flooding in. And the fact that you see more women owners and stuff like that. Like one of the ones that I love is Miss Stacy Four. Her and her husband, Mike, are just amazing people as far as what they do. And when you see some of this stuff and what's out there, like, that's why I suggest people looking on social media and you see all these different things. It's amazing some of the things that going on there. I think that a lot of people are getting some things right, So I guess, is there anything about women in HVACR that we have not talked about? Because I don't want to feel like I keep asking you guys the same question, that if we've missed or didn't cover anything.
I would like, one of the things that we got a call. I'm not going to talk about exactly those people, but we had a call or email from a woman in Hawaii because over there they only have one community college, and it's on Oahu. So on the other islands, they have a really need for more techs over there, and so these 3 women had quit their jobs to take on the family HVAC business and recognize that fact and realize that the girls going through the high school would be a good opportunity for them to get into this trade because it's lucrative, but there was no way to train them. So they decided to set their own school up. And that's why they reached out to us, because they really just needed a letter saying that this was a valuable thing to go do. And so I talked to her a few weeks ago, and they are just waiting for to get their grant. So hopefully, and they're going to start the school in June of this year. So I'm really looking forward myself to seeing where those 3 women will take that opportunity. So I think it's a great thing that they're doing. And something what the women that are in this group do the same kinds of things. So
Hey, that's awesome. And it's innovative. And the fact that it's so new, I think some of these women can take things in so many directions when they come in. The fact that some of those things are so new, like stuff like that, and knowing that they have, ways to be able to get to school. And I think that's good about people like you or anybody like myself, other influencers getting into schools, talking about the trades in general, but also saying like, hey, I am not here. Like, this message is not just for the men. I am talking to the ladies in the crowd too. Like, if you don't think you're going to go to college or you don't think you're going to do well, or even if you do, I want you to consider the trades and to be able to show those pictures like, oh, did you know there's a whole program dedicated just for women in the industry? It's called Women in HVACR. You know what I mean? Like, and you start getting that kind of stuff out and people realize it's there. That's how we can really start to change the kind of culture of what's happening.
It really is one of the kind of lesser known organizations. We've gotten a lot of traction, but you'd be surprised. Marsha and I actually just got back from the Ream Root show, and we met with tons of Ream Root dealers that were just like, I've never heard of this. I can't believe this is even here. And we're like, we've been here for 20 years. Like, what's going on? But we were able to hand out one of the things specifically for contractors that we have is we actually have a video that we have on our site that's a free resource. We did a video for recruiting female technicians. Specifically, it's a kind of a fun video that you get to use, has some facts and figures in it, but it's going over a girl's journey into discovering HVAC as an actual option and going through tech school. And it's set to the Greatest Showman's Come Alive song, if you guys are familiar with the Greatest Showman. So it's a music video, but it has some facts at the end and how to find out more about, getting a career. But it's a free resource we put out there so that you can share that on your site. You can share it on your social media. Maybe you're going to get attention from somebody's mom, somebody's aunt, whatever, somebody that's going to grab that person and be like, look, this is for you. And it's a great kind of tool that you can actually kind of bring to schools too. You can, maybe play it even for your group or church or whatever it is that you have going on. We just want to be the person or the group really that provides the resources you need to make a splash. And I know that's kind of the hardest thing sometimes is you can talk about it all day long, but do you have the facts, the figures, the numbers, the PowerPoints? So the video's on there. It's actually WHVACR or womeninhvacr.org/come alive. And we also have any of our groups. If you are just sticking your toe in, trying to figure out whether this organization's for you, join our LinkedIn group, join our Facebook group. They're open to everyone. You don't have to be a member to join. We encourage you to look into membership because I think that's where most people have the best time. However, if you just want to get to know what kind of crew we are, get involved in those groups.
That's awesome.
Follow our Instagram because I'm building that.
Yeah, I just started doing Instagram. So most of my following has been Facebook or like audio podcast downloads. Instagram has been new. There's guys that have been killing it. So I'm just now getting out there. But like I said, I think that's like what you guys are doing is so important. And I think some people may not even realize it because the fact that, if I was just like thinking about my wife and if she was trying to do something and or like my daughters, I mean, let's think of I have 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls and my daughters. And if they came to me and said, Daddy, I want to do HVAC. Hey, that's awesome. I would empower them to do that. I would teach them like I would teach my sons. It wouldn't be any different. But the fact that it's so different, it's so new, but they have that support system is something like that is really what's going to help catapult for the future. So that's why like a lot of us, social media people, stuff like that need to get the word out about you guys if people don't already know, because maybe there's a bunch of women out there that didn't even know you exist, that maybe they feel alone and they don't even realize that there's a bunch of group of badass women out there ready to, ready to help them. So that's
ready to take on and strengthen the industry we serve.
Yeah, that is pretty sweet. So I guess I didn't even ask this in the beginning. I'll start with you, Miss Marsha. How long have you been affiliated with the HVAC industry as a whole?
About 30 years.
30 years. So most than some of the people in the chat have been alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great industry. I love it.
Yeah. And I want you to take that with some weight, because if you go to your work and, you talk to some old guy and he says, oh, I've been in the industry for 30 years, you automatically respect what he say. Well, it should be no different in this situation. So that's why I'm saying that. I want you guys to know that, there's a lot of other people doing things in this industry that, sometimes are behind the scenes, or some of these parts you get at these companies that are innovating, new products. You don't know who's making that products. Well, you have Miss Marsha, who she's one of those people behind some of these products that you're using and you don't even realize it. So that's actually pretty awesome. So what all kind of stuff does your company make? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would also say that I take a lot of tech support calls, so I talk to a lot of techs in the field, and that's one of the ways I stay really sharp on my product. And also, you get an understanding of some of the challenges people are facing out there. And I would recommend anybody in a position like I am to take some of those calls. Anyway.
That's awesome. What kind of stuff? I know that you have it on here, and I was reading it, but it's better for you to explain it than me. What kind of products do you guys make? I know it was you're more for like in the like kitchen kind of space. Is that what it was?
So we make thermostats that are used a lot in fan coils and PTACs, the multi-fan. We do 3-wire floating, 0 to 10 volt controls. We have Wi-Fi and BACnet on some of our controls. And we also make other controls for the commercial cooking markets and the egg markets.
Oh, I got you. Because I see in here what it said commercial cooking market, commercial cooking industry. So that's why I said that. I missed the whole first part of that sentence. My fault.
We make the controls that regulate the fryers for McDonald's, that make the fries that you're eating when you're going through there.
Oh, nice. That's pretty sweet. And so where's your company? So the stuff you guys make, I know, like where are you? So what part of the region? Like where are you located in the country?
I'm in Clackamas, Oregon, which is close to downtown Portland, and we manufacture here at our facility, but we also manufacture in Korea and China.
Oh, nice. It's pretty wild. It's crazy. It's a company I've never heard of, but I mean, I haven't done like commercial kitchen stuff or, I think a lot of the industrial stuff, I concentrate mostly on the residential stuff now. So I don't get to see most of that stuff anymore. All right, ladies.
Different on the residential side. It's totally a different channel from the stuff that I sell more into the commercial side, which is what I've noticed is a little more specific, job specific stuff that we're working on.
It makes sense. And that's one thing I love about this industry, that there's so many avenues to take and there's not a wrong one. You can do, I tell people, if you like, you're a people person, you're a good communicator, that residential is good for you to be able to do that. If you don't like that and you like being on one job all day and you like that kind of stuff, then, there is that commercial and industrial. I had a friend of mine I went to school with who learned HVAC, and now he works on dialysis machines in hospitals because apparently like the pressure temperature relationship is the same. He was making like $200,000 a year at like, 24 years old. Granted, his father got him into it, but the avenues are endless as far as what you can do. And I think it's awesome that it's changing in the industry. The perception is changing, and women are realizing, what their opportunities can be. And like I said, I am really, really, really excited for it. As far as what they do. And like I said, I think you guys, your organization is doing an amazing, amazing job for that. And I know like the next time we talk, it's going to be, we have, 2,500 members.
There you go. We're going to be paid staff all the way by that point.
Yeah, I hope so. You should be. And I think this is, I know it's new and a lot of the women that I talk to, I know some of them, when you talk about, oh, you should do HVAC, and they're like, oh, I'm not doing that. Like I wouldn't do that. And I talked to a bunch of them like, oh, I'm going to school to be a dental hygienist. I'm like, why do you do that? Cause it's safe. I'm like, I'm like, you're a strong girl. I'm like, come into HVAC. I guarantee you would love it. You get to talk to people every day and you will make more money than that. Like, I want them to know that this is an option. And that's why I'm saying, like, I know we're still at the infantile stages. Well, I don't want to say that because then it sounds like, there's been no progress, and I don't want to say that. But I know we have to go a little bit further, when women are, applying to companies, like, it's 50-50 as far as the men and women, as far as what they apply. And I know in my situation, it's not that right now.
No, I think for the technician level, especially for getting into the field, you're less than 2% where in the professional level, according to the Department of Labor, that's where we kind of use our statistics from, it's like 12 to 14%, which it still isn't great. But of course, there's a lot more regularity for marketing and CEOs and managers and stuff like that to be women, where technicians is still breaking ground. We may not have, like, we're only been in business now, Women HVACR, for 20 years. So we're celebrating our 20th year anniversary technically this year. And yet, the same time, we're finding out more and more, especially when you compare it to other countries, we are so ahead of the times. It's way worse off in countries like India or England or Africa that don't even have programs like this. So sometimes we got to pat ourselves on the back and say, okay, we might not be there yet, but we're going to inspire others. We're going to get it out there for the entire world. Other groups are going to be able to build into this, and women in the trades, it's just going to become a norm eventually. And maybe we won't need a group like Women in HVACR anymore, because of course it's not going to be something that's abnormal. But for now, it's very much a needed thing to drive the change.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's, speaking, I just saw her pop up, Amanda. So that's the one I told you, that's the badass, general manager that we have for our company, who loves what you guys do. I was actually going to let her come on this show so that she could be on there because she wanted to meet you guys. But yeah, it's definitely, like I always say, and it sounds cliche, you have to start a race in order to be able to finish it. So at least you guys started it, and you're ahead of everybody, all these other places, and you're moving in the right direction. So progress can always be made. And, it is really, really sweet. I can't wait to see what the future holds. It kind of gets excited because I do think as an industry that we're not as far as we should be. And I try to always be a positive person and think about things in a positive way. But I think as far as like efficiencies and equipment and different things, that we should be further along. And I think that, women in the trade should have probably happened. I would have liked to have seen it further along, but I'm glad that it's at least happening. The change is coming. Cause like I said, my two daughters, when they're only 4 and 6 now, but when they get 18, 19, 20, I want them to know, like, hey, I want to do what my dad does. It's not just sons saying, hey, I want to, or it's even better if it says, hey, I want to go do what my mom does. My mom was an HVAC tech, or my mom owned an HVAC company. I want to go do that. So it's very, very, very sweet. I know we're getting to almost 10 o'clock now. People are saying thank you, Colleen, and thanking you guys for all your hard work and promoting and supporting women in the industry. So the comments are thanking you guys. So I want to thank both of you guys for coming on. I'm sorry about all the technical difficulties. It took forever to do this. But I really do appreciate both of you coming on. If I can ever support you guys in any way, please let me know. If you guys ever need to come back on, I promise we'll have a better connection. We'll be able to do all this without taking a half an hour to do it. So I love what you guys are doing. I think it's awesome that women are realizing, their value and what they can do in this industry. And I think when that happens is when we're really going to start making a change, because I can't wait to see the 50-50 split. I can't wait to when I walk in my office door one day and, I have 6 women techs, or I have another woman who, runs another branch or something. I can't wait for those days to come, because as a father, like I said, I see the future for my children, and it excites me and makes me happy. So, yeah. If you guys, would like to say anything in closing, I really do appreciate you guys.
No, thank you so much for having us, Gil. And honestly, we just hope to see you in Arizona at the end of the year.
Yes, no, I am flattered that you offered, and I will definitely be there. I might have to definitely try to get my wife to go to this one. I'm like, hey, babe, I'm going to this women in HVACR with a bunch of women in Arizona, and there's a lazy river. She's going to be like, yeah, that's not happening. No, she would be good, but that's fine. I don't know. Maybe she would. Maybe
we'd love to have.
Yeah, I need to get her out. It's hard with the 4 kids to get both of us gone to be able to travel, but it would be a good time. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. Thank you guys so much. Once again, if you guys don't mind, Miss Colleen, if you don't mind sharing, how can everybody get in touch with you? Facebook, all those things again. Let's let everybody know that one last time.
So it's womeninhvacr.org is our website. So in any of our Instagram stuff, our hashtag is Women in HVACR, all spelled out. And all of our content for our Facebook stuff and our LinkedIn, all you have to do is search Women in HVACR. Don't forget the R for refrigeration. And once you put that in there, you'll be able to find our Facebook business page, our Facebook group, just ask to join and we'll approve you. And our LinkedIn group, all you have to do is ask to join. Those are where the conversations are happening, and you're going to get most of our updates for what's coming up, what our membership calls are, what our events are. And our Instagram, you just have to look for Women in HVACR. That's the fastest way to get involved. And if you ever want to reach out to Marsha or I, it's just info@womeninhvacr.org. info@womeninhvacr.org.
Yep. And I'll get all these links for you. I'll make sure to put them in the show notes, and I'll get all these things shared out. If any of you are, I don't know, if you're drunk right now and you can't remember Women in HVACR, email me and I'll get you in touch with them. But I'll try to put all that information in the show notes so you guys know. Thank you again, ladies, for coming on. I'm going to close this out just real fast. Guys, thank you so much for coming and checking out the show. I really, really do appreciate you guys. I think it is awesome what they were doing. I'm sorry about some of the technical difficulties on my end. But it's great information and stuff like that. Please go support them as far as what they're doing. Some of you have daughters out there, you have wives, and don't be those selfish, misogynistic pigs or whatever. Some of the men, and we all know some of these groups and some of the comments that people make, and it's pretty messed up because what is going on, and it's constantly, changing. And like I said, every woman that I know in this trade is badass. You have Miss Jessica Egan in the chat right now. I remember when she said she wanted to do this, and seeing where she is now, it is fucking amazing. And I can't wait to see so many other women doing the same exact thing in this industry, because once we start mixing together, I mean, holy shit, what's going to happen? I mean, it's going to be amazing. So thank you guys. Check them out on Facebook. All that kind of stuff. Spread it to any women that you know, whether they are in your office, they're technicians, whatever it is. And make sure when you're hiring people, you're trying to find those women, letting them know that this is an opportunity for them to do. Because maybe you have some in your life that don't even know this is a chance, an opportunity for them. So make sure that you're open-minded and you do that. Because like I said, I can't wait to have the opportunity to be able to actually have one, to be able to work with and work around and stuff like that. Because the ones that are already at my company are fucking rock stars, and I love those girls to death. So, yep. As always, man, like I say every week, guys, be safe out there. Always make it home the same way you left. We all got somebody to make it home to. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy, the next girl, because that girl might be coming to take your job. All right. Remember that. But yes, I love you guys. Remember to like, subscribe, check out all the social media posts. I was not able to, all the social media accounts, Instagram, Facebook. I have a giveaway that is coming up next week. I've had some things within the last week with my mom's health that I have had to deal with. So I've been trying to play catch up, but I have a meter and the inspection camera that I am giving away. And I'm going to tell you, if you watch this, It's going to be on Instagram. Okay. So you have to be following me. That's where the first giveaway is going to be. So don't miss out. Guys, thank you for the support. Sorry about missing a podcast last week. I don't always do that, like I said, because of some of the health issues I had, things I had to do. But I love you guys, man. I appreciate you. Remember, you're important. What you do is important. This trade is important. Keep waking up every day with a positive attitude and kicking asses one at a time. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you later.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.